Well, this is just overwhelming. It's just so wonderful to have this room full of all of you. You know, really all of you have helped us work on this book. So Stan and I have an acknowledgement speech that goes on and on. We can't read it tonight, but thank you all so much for everything you've done to help us create this book. We're so grateful to the California Historical Society. Thank you, David Croson, for hosting us. And all the way through, Mary Morganti and Alison Krauss for helping us find the most obscure documents, the most amazing photos. And for tonight, for a special treat, actually, Stan and I and Mary have prepared an exhibit in the library. So please, after the presentation, go to the library where you will see amazing documents like Charlotte Brown's handwritten plea to the court after she was removed from a San Francisco streetcar in 1863 because African Americans were not allowed to ride, and she took them to court, and you will see that there. You will see correspondence from Fred Korematsu to Ernie Bessig, who was the head of the ACLU, who fought his case up to the Supreme Court. Lots of incredible documents that Mary Morganti allowed us to share with you tonight, and you can look at them on the table. We also, really want to thank the sponsors of this party, which is California Historical Society, the ACLU, so many friends from ACLU here, EJS, Equal Justice Society, and especially Heyday Books. Thank you so much for having the faith in us. I was describing to my 92-year-old dad, who kept asking me year after year, when is the book coming? That we were going to the party tonight, and I was telling him so much about Malcolm, who has been, just a guiding, generous spirit to us all the way through, who kept faith when I couldn't figure out what was going on in the women's movement, and I couldn't find the documents from, early Constitution, and Malcolm was sure. He didn't tell us where they were, but he was sure we would find them. And I asked my dad, what can I say about Malcolm? And he said, you can say, "Ir is a Mensch." He's a Mensch. He is a Mensch. Thank you, Malcolm. And so many other wonderful people from Heyday Books. Our deft, or is it daft, editor, Janine Gendar, who just turned this mountain of manuscript into a beautiful, readable book that you all can share. I don't know how you did your wizardry, but we thank you so much. I think you can't say words fail me when you're talking about an editor, so I will just say thank you. To Lillian Fleer, who has organized this event and many other readings for us, to Diane Lee, who did an incredible job as our production editor, Susan Pye, who is our publicist, and Lorraine Rath, who made the most amazing cover. I think you will all agree. And I also can't end my part of the thank yous without thanking my wonderful family for being here and being behind me all the way. That's my son Matthew, my nephew Zusha, and my beloved husband Renee Siri. Adopted brother or prom date or whatever, Stan Yogi.
I just wanted to echo Elaine's thanks to everybody that she's mentioned. I won't go into details since we don't have much time. But along the lines of thanking family, I wanted to thank my partner, David Carroll, who's standing in the back there. He has been unwaveringly supportive throughout this whole process and incredibly patient, and didn't complain when I detoured many of our vacations to civil liberties sites like Amsterdam to do research, and I couldn't have asked for a more dreamy partner in this whole process. So thank you. And I also want to thank Renee, Elaine's husband, because he has shared so much of Elaine's time in this book, so thank you, Renee. So if our families provided us with emotional and spiritual sustenance during the process of putting this book together, there are a couple of organizations that provided us with financial assistance that we wanted to acknowledge. The first is the California Civil Liberties Public Education Program, which is a program of the California State Library, and they provided a grant for us early on in the process of researching and writing this book, so we're very happy that we've completed it so we can turn in a copy of the book to the grant program. And we also wanted to acknowledge the Evelyn and Walter Haas Jr. Fund, which awarded a grant to Heyday Books in honor of Mike McCone, and Mike directed that grant to our book, so we wanted to both thank Mike and the Evelyn and Walter Haas.
Credentials, well, now we have doctorates, so I guess, we can write this book, but, neither of us were trained historians or lawyers when we started. We're not now, but we were just, as Dorothy said, trained in the School of Civil Liberties and feel very happy that we were trained there. But because of that, we wanted to thank, so many people here, but two people especially who just went above and beyond and helped us in ways that we never could have figured out ourselves. One is Lindsay Kefauver, who is a photo researcher who volunteered to help us find the most obscure photos from the most far-flung sources, from the Smithsonian to the National Archives to libraries, and taught us how to get permissions for them, and just really made this book a much more beautiful piece of work. Thank you, Lindsay. The other is Michael Ginsberg. Michael, are you still here? I hope. Michael is a law librarian who read one of our articles in the Daily Journal. We've been doing a series of articles in the Daily Journal that were kind of excerpts from the book, and said, I think this is a great project, I'd love to help you. And we're like, oh yes, come help us, because we don't know how to look stuff up in the law library. So we would give him names of fragments of cases, and we think this was in, an appellate court in, 1872, and he would find the case. And so our bibliography is so complete and so easy and accessible to use because of the incredible talents and generosity of Michael Ginsberg. So now what we'd like to do is we're going to read some excerpts just from the introduction, because I know you've been here a while and it's getting late, but we want to just read some excerpts from the introduction, and then we're actually going to introduce you to some people in the audience here tonight who are in the book. We're going to do it chapter by chapter.